All right, we are live. What's going on, fellow traders? Happy Sunday. Hope everybody had a blessed weekend. And let me get this tweeted out real quick. YouTube.com, say Bubblehead Live. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. Yeah, so wow, what a week last week. We had a pretty amazing move. Lots of amazing moves really. But just kind of recap where we're at, right? So the month of June, pretty much reclaimed the month of May, right, which was a bearish engulfing month. Barely got any follow through the downside. Bounced off of the monthly mid Bollinger Band, and all the way back up and got some follow through here this month so far, and got to all-time highs already again. So weeks, things like that. I mean the actual notable inside week was the SPX, right? So that gapped up right last week, and then it pulled back, and you kind of see here I have the prior week high. Kind of came back in, did a little bit of price discovery at that area, and then launched back up. So right at that level is it's funny. You look at this, you're like, oh, if I just swing trade it, here, just put a stop down here, and good to go, right? So I'm in the 43-point range, a pretty strong move so far. So, but nice move off of that off of the inside week. So. So far, though, there are a lot of gaps below, and one got filled on Friday. So it wasn't all green, it wasn't all uphill to get there. It was, some back and forth and up and down and things like that. So things were actually getting a little bit scary early Friday morning as we had a quick pullback. We filled the gap, but that was enough. Buy the dip, and then just pretty much launch back up, give you a nice hammer bar there for the day. So I'm going to remove this because this is no longer a gap. Okay, but we still have a couple other gaps here. There's this big gap right here. There's a closing gap right here. Now the daily got filled, pretty much. Actually, let me see that. That was 29.29.30. That was 29.29.05. Yeah. So the actual daily gap got filled, but the closing gap did not. So there's a little bit of a gap there. There's also a gap here between the closing gaps. In fact, let me go ahead and put a circle there. Why not? A little bit of gap there, and then we've got that gap got filled, so we're good there. And then this gap down here, and then there's actually a closing gap down here too. So lots of gaps below. Okay, those act as magnets, right? So when the VIX is ready, right, to get scared, right, those can start getting filled. So we actually saw that a little bit on Friday. It decided to snap back up, and that's where the gap got filled on that. So it doesn't look like we're out of the woods yet. So it started to perk up a little bit here. So it got green, and now futures are down a little bit. So we'll see if that gets any follow through or not going forward. So SPX on the daily, I'm just hanging on to that hammer so far. And then basically intraday price action. This is stuff we look at in the positive trends private Twitter. These are values that we tweet out every market night, or at least before the market open, to show the key levels to look at the next day. And you can see how much these are in play, right? So on Friday, actually make sure. Yep. So on Friday, sorry, it's got a couple days in here. I could probably remove that, but that's okay. So anyway, Friday, really rough opening bar here at the S1 level, kind of pushed down, hung out around this confluence area of the prior day's open and low, and this weekly R2 level. Couldn't quite hold it. Broke down again, and then instead of forming a bear flag right here, ended up getting continuation bar, a very strong bar right here, which said, hey, we're going up. Couldn't bull flag. This is just a minor bull flag right here, and then worked its way up, got through the S1 level, and then worked its way up through the daily pivot, and then tried to get a little bit higher. So really good buy the dip on Friday. So just kind of see where we're at on the daily chart here. So we are at a pretty kind of an interesting juncture here. We're at the pitchfork midpoint line, upper midpoint line. So you can see that served as resistance here, this pink line right here, and we're now showing resistance here again. So we'll see if we come back down and retest the actual horizontal support zone here, or if it wants to just continue and work its way up and maybe test the top of this channel. This channel is pretty significant, right? It was all through 2018, right? The highs and the lows, and really significant after the Christmas reversal, and then retested that level. So we're kind of getting up to the top of that channel again. So we'll see how how price handles it up there if it gets up there. So pretty interesting stuff. So good. Well, yeah. So basically today, let me get pulled up the discussion stuff here today. So today and this week we're going to be talking about crossover strategies. Okay, so there's going to be a couple different ones. One of the ones that we'll talk about different moving average crossovers that are interesting. So today we're actually going to go through and talk about a crossover with the VWAP that really isn't discussed very much, and just something I was doing some experiments with, and I found it very interesting. So real quick, please review this, especially if you're watching the recording. Please pause it if you get a chance to just kind of scan through this, basically saying everything here is for educational purposes only and not investment advice. Okay. All right, so today we're going to talk about day trading crossover strategies with the VWAP, and in fact, I'm just going to basically talk about one. And there's probably multiple concepts that are out there, but this I found to be very interesting, especially on the shorter term time frames. Okay, so the VWAP stands for volume weighted average price, right? So what makes it different from most moving averages is that it incorporates volume, hence the first part of it, volume weighted average moving price. So it's volume weighted. Okay, so that's really interesting, right? Because a lot of the price and volume are the two most important things that you look at when you're evaluating price action. And so if VWAP includes the volume weighted average, then or the volume within the weighted average, then that's pretty significant, right? That kind of tells you a lot about what's going on. So it's a very, very interesting indicator and interesting moving average, if you call it that. So moving averages generally follow price, right? As they're the average price calculations, right? So we have moving averages, right? Okay, so the VWAP can be very helpful on multiple time frames. Okay, so there's different strategies that are out there, right? There's VWAPs that carry over. There's multi-day VWAPs, things like that, multi-week, and there's some really cool tools out there where you can take advantage of that. So you guys will see me a lot. I'll use the hourly time frame and use the VWAP based on that, right? Which is all essentially the same stuff, and they all apply on different time frames, different methodologies. So this method requires using a ticker with lots of volume and pre-market and post-market data. Okay, so the one that I'm going to talk about, the VWAP that I'm going to use here, is most appropriate, I think, on the SPY. So the SPY should come to mind, right? Because it has a lot of volume pre and post market, right? So some stocks that we look at that are interesting to trade, maybe we like to trade, Amazon. It doesn't necessarily give, great, pre and post market data. Especially some stocks like don't even, give you any data like pre and post market. So, so SPY gives you a lot, and it's starting to do that a lot more. So that with being able to trade, pre-market and post-market pretty actively. So SPY should come to mind with that. So we'll take a look at that. So in fact, let me just show you an example real quick. So let's just switch over there to SPY. Okay, so let's go back to SPY, and I'm going to switch over here real quick. Okay, so here's SPY, okay? And this is, the examples I'm going to show you are going to be on the 5-minute chart, okay? I like trading off the 5-minute chart. It gives you a lot of interesting information and clues, and I think it's very effective for this strategy that we're going to talk about. So, but you can see here, there's not a lot of, other than the futures, right, that which, trade all the time. This is one that is, possible to trade here, intraday. If you don't have a futures account, you can actually do it with a cash account with options. So, but this gives you a lot of information here, post-market and pre-market. Okay, so really, really interesting stuff, right? So it gives you a good flow of data, and I'll explain why in a second, why we want that. Okay. So the reason is, in fact, let me go ahead and show it now. So let's take a look here. All right, so let's go to just something that doesn't have a lot of data. So let's just go to just, I can't remember what it like, say like CRM. But other than that, there's really not much. So what happens is when you add the VWAP to it, so all you have to do is you go to studies, right? You go add study, and then just go down to V for VWAP. Where is it? Up there. Okay, so there's your VWAP. Okay, I like to just remove the standard deviations. All right, I know it always looks like it's really obvious that you just trade the bounces up to standard deviations. Trust me, it's never that easy because they can move forever. So you go there, and then you go to Edit Studies, VWAP, and then upper band. I'm just gonna remove the plots on those so we don't bother us. And then I like to keep the VWAP purple size 3. Okay, so I'm gonna hit that, apply. All right, so there's the view. You see how complex this is? It gives these really sharp moves, right? You can't really use that as a gauge without some more data. So all it ends up being is when you open, when you start the day, it's like, okay, the VWAP is short, sharp down. It doesn't really give me any data. But when you go to the SPY, it gives you a little more movement, before you get to the market. So it starts to get some flow to it before you get started with the day, right? So here you can see it's down trending, right? And so, so really interesting stuff. And that really helps to have that pre-market data with the VWAP. Okay, so from there, all right, then here's the tactic that we're talking about today. So use the 3 EMA, the exponential moving average, because it's very sensitive to price. So obviously, one thing you could do is just look at price, right? So you can be, oh, okay, well, price is kind of coming up here. It's not really touching the VWAP, so I'm below it. Okay, that's fine, right? And but if you add the moving average, sometimes it helps. So, tracking these bars can get, a little bit tedious. I mean, you could turn it into a line chart, right? So that is one, concept. But we like to trade candlesticks. It gives us an idea. We have the line chart here. You could obviously use that with your price too. But sometimes it's nice to use candlesticks because it helps, set stops and look to see where things actually closed, right? So. Let's see where they opened and closed. So let's go back to the candlesticks. Okay, so here we are with that. And then, like I said, we use the 3 EMA exponential moving average because it's sensitive to price. The EMA is your exponential moving average. It moves more sensitively to price, right? The SMA is a little bit slower, right? It's a little smoother. It takes a while to catch up to price. Okay, so EMA is exponential. It's faster, catches up with, it tends to adjust quicker to price. Okay, so price tends to the VWAP. All right, so this is very kind of common stuff, right? So if the price is below the VWAP, this is a place where institutions, hedge funds, where they can enter, right? They can safely enter in here when you're below the VWAP because it doesn't disclose their positions as much, right? And so they load up here, it gets back to the VWAP. Some of them unload, so sometimes you'll see bounces off of the VWAP, but for the most part, you can see when it's moving, when it's trending, or reversing, it can really push through the VWAP and give you some pretty explosive moves through it. So one of the techniques that they use is to buy low underneath the VWAP or sell high over the VWAP to get back to the VWAP and they get out. But a lot of times, you see a lot of pushes through that, and so that's what this is about here. Okay. All right. So next, all right, when it breaks. And stays beyond the VWAP, look to take an entry. Okay, so then here is how to manage it. Okay, so let me show you what it looks like with the 3 EMA. So let me add that to it. So I'm going to go studies, add study, and then we just go all studies. We'll go exponential. Pretty sure it's here in exponential. Or is it moving average exponential? I normally just look for it. Move average exponential. Okay, there we go. So they have it as blue. I'm just going to make it 3 so it's easy to see. Size 3, apply. Good to go. All right, so here's the deal. So now we look for a crossover where the 3 EMA, where the blue crosses over the purple. Okay, and then this gives us a clue pre-market what's happening. Okay, so you can see here, kind of tracing back, right? The blue was kind of over here, kind of crossed over here, okay? And then now it started to break it, okay? So as long as it stays below the VWAP, right? So that is, essentially your direction, right? So you can see how this moving average, it tends to follow price. It's very, very smooth with it, and it gives you a nice gap here, a nice distance between the VWAP, right? And then now you can see here, it crosses over, and then you've seen a confirmed now uptrend. Okay, so how do we follow this? How do we, how do we manage this trade? Okay, so obviously you could just trace the VWAP, or you could just, trail bar by bar, or whatever the case is. Definitely do that. Okay, so one thing I'd like to add here that probably is unique, and it is something that is relevant to our previous discussions is, I think it's a really cool tool, is use the Williams alligator. Okay, so as long as price doesn't close beyond the jaws of the alligator, the blue line, right, then you can stay in the trade. Okay. So let's take a look at that and see how it looks. All right, so let's go back here. All right, so to manage this trade, let's add, what I really like about the Williams alligator from our discussion recently is that if you are trending, it helps give you confidence to stay in the trend, right? Obviously, things are going up here and this is pointing up, right? But is there anything else that we could use as a clue to help with that? And the Williams alligator really does help. So at this point here, let me actually just show you where it is. So you can just go here, red as the teeth, okay? So I know it starts to get a little cluttered, but when these are spaced apart, right, when they're not crossing over, this is an excellent way. And if you ever trade this, it actually projects forward in time, so you can you'll see it out here. So if you're here, it'll look like this out here, right? So as long as these guys are spaced out, right, you're trending in this direction, okay? So now obviously trading price action, this is a good place to get out, right? So you basically have a bullish engulfing bar right here. I mean, not perfect, but still, I mean, this is a very, very strong bar, and then followed by another strong green bar, and then followed by a hammer bar, right? So you can see this is a great place to take profit if you're short here. Granted, it's tough to get it right from the open, but here, or from pre-market, but here you can get options at the open. You have nice, downward trending from the pre-market area. That's what really helps you into the open, is you can see the data ahead of time, right? And then just continue to follow here. So here's a good exit point. Now, this is the first close above the jaws. Okay, so this is right here at 297.02. right? I mean, if you entered here at the open, you know, somewhere around 297.50, so it was only 50 cents there. But again, if anybody catches a drop like this on the SPY, great to lower stops and just kind of take advantage of it at that point, okay? So the key is, with the alligator, is when it starts to get, you know, in this kind of crossover kind of gobbledygook, right? That's a good place not to trade, right? Wait till it starts to, you know, clear itself out. So you can see here the 3 EMA crosses over right here. Now, if anybody's ever traded crossover strategies, they know it doesn't happen perfectly, right? You're staring at this thing, you're watching 5 minutes. 5 minutes could feel like an hour, right? You're looking at it and you're like, oh, is it crossing over? Maybe it's crossing over here, maybe it's crossing over here. You know, wait till you get, you know, a confirmation bar that closes above the VWAP, right? So this is one or this is one. So I mean, either way, somewhere halfway in between here, if you got it at 297.05, right? The Williams alligator is starting to turn up, right? Because it kind of projects forward. They're spaced out over here, and then you just kind of ride it up, right? So you can see it's just kind of moving, never crosses over, really never even touches the teeth, right, of the alligator until like up here, right? Plus you're at the end of the day, what a great place to take profits up here off of this cross. So there's actually 2 decent moves here. You don't have to catch the perfect low, right, or the perfect top, but you can really see that this gave you good information heading into the open that, hey, this is probably going down, right? Because the 3MA is still below the VWAP, right? And the alligator is all pointing down, right? Gets a little messed up in here. Okay, great place to either get out, take profits, whatever the case is, or of course down here is a good place as well. And then wait for it to retrend again and then get back in. So that's the idea. We'll go back a couple days here. I'm going to zoom through a couple examples here so you kind of see. Then we'll kind of go. Then we'll wrap up. Okay, so that's the idea. Here you can see this pre-market. See how like the alligators is kind of like all choppy, messy, right? You know, it's kind of good to stay out of that, right? So, but we do see here that there was a crossover. It never went back over the VWAP, so we could have gone short here. But it was, it was tough. You could have stayed out of this. Right, but here it was the crossover to the upside. See, watch this bright blue line as it crosses over the purple line, and forgive the trend lines that are on there. Right, the alligator starts to turn up over here. Remember, it's in the future. If you're trading this, you get a nice crossover here. Gets a little choppy into it, but no reason to get out. Right, the alligator is still going up. You get a huge bar like this, right? And here, let me pull up the June 28th levels. Let's see what those. Oh, I don't have those here, but I can actually. It's fine, but. More than likely this is a level up here. So if you get a big green bar like this, right, and it pushes up here like to some sort of key level and then it followed by like a topping tail like this, great place to get out, right? That's a move right there that you want to take profits on, okay? And then here, you know, it kind of worked, kind of crossed over a little bit. Got a little bit choppy, you know, nothing here. I mean, here you could take possibly like a little bit of a scalp short here. But then again, end of the day, kind of launched. Okay, so you don't want to get caught short in that. So this kind of came up, gave us a new day. All right, here's the new data from the next day. Kind of choppy mess right here, not much going on. Then you have this crossover here. Okay, very, very bearish. Follow the alligator down, never close above the jaws. Okay, brilliant day right there, amazing move. Okay, and then of course it trended back up to the VWAP. Okay, chop around here at the open. Look at the alligator all morning, all totally flat. You don't want to trade that. Okay, it did give you a. Sometimes you see these points, or it gives you like these at the VWAP. It gives you like a double top or a double bottom. Gave you a quick little point here. Right, you can see that move up here. So this is definitely one you can experiment with. Kind of go through and just kind of see, you know, how it would be tradable. Messy in here, right? Finally got a nice crossover here. Everything was pointing up, right? Nasty pullback. Never closed below the jaws of the alligator. Then launched off at the end of the day. One more move up. Here, never crossed over below, right? The VWAP. Continue to move up. Everything was moving up here today. Okay, so this is your first kind of crossover in the morning, right? But you know, wait for things to start making themselves clear. Nice distance here between 3MA and the VWAP. Alligators pointing up. Nice move. Never closed below the jaws. See this? Okay, use your pre-market data to help you get entries. And this is where we left off earlier. So just kind of check this out. You know. See how it works for your trading. I think it's really, really cool. I think it gives you great areas of entry, and then helps you stay in the trade a little bit longer by throwing the alligator in there too, which you know, uses those smoothing moving averages, right? So yeah, so that's it. Hopefully you guys found that helpful. We'll talk about some other cool strategies this week. At this point, if anybody has any questions or chart requests, please plug those in the chat window. We'll try to get through as many as we can, hopefully before 10:30, so everybody can get a great night's sleep so we can have an awesome day trading tomorrow. So good stuff. All right, guys. What's going on? Ayaz, how's it going? Good to see you. Sarah, good evening. Landon, how are you? Jason, good evening. Alpesh, how are you, my friend? Harvey, glad you can make it. Best crap secret. AMD should be fun this week. Absolutely. It's already getting some good good reviews, and definitely will be on our radar for sure. NetFry, what's happening? Any hope in CNC? That is a great question, and one I hope we can at least take a look at. So CNC. Centene. Yeah, it's kind of been on the radar a little bit. Let's take a look at the daily chart. So daily chart. What happened to CRM? What did I do? Oh, I know what I did. Sorry, I had that one unlinked. I came up here. Okay, so I think there is hope, and I know you love long, so let's take a look and see where we're at when it comes back to life here. Okay, so Centene, right? Trend line, low. Can kind of use a pivot. You could possibly use this because that was before the low, right? Because we closed low. So here we're starting to break above it. NetFry, if we get over Friday's highs as an outside bar, kind of bullish engulfing, right? Actually, technically, it is bullish engulfing. It doesn't look like it, but the real body here of the green is overlapping the real body of the red, and both the high and the low are above the high and the low of the prior. So technically, it is a bullish engulfing bar. Also, belt hold bar. So I mean, I think if we get above Friday's highs, I think you can start seeing some possibilities. It does have the cloud here to get through, but once it gets in the cloud, if it can handle that, then we might see a breakout on that. So I think there is hope. QSB, what's going on? Class is in session, yes. Jason, what's happening? Made some gas money and Amazon calls last Friday. Good job, man. Looking for 2,000 in 2 weeks of Prime Day, 7:15. Yeah, fantastic. So so Amazon looking good. With the rest of the market, it is working its way up. Right, had a nice engulfing day on Friday, and it's working its way up. Right, I mean, so it's who knows? We could see a pullback, right? We could see a pullback to the mid Bollinger Band, but this pitchfork level is kind of the next target. I know this is going to look really sloppy when I pull out here, but this pitchfork is kind of this big range kind of resistance area. So I'm hoping it can work its way up to that kind of 1984. Maybe in time, like you said, it'll if it follows it up, it'll work up to that 2000 level, like you said before Prime Day. So good stuff there, man. Glad you got it. AMD could be good. Yeah, big call buyers on AMD, so that's good. Good flow. Shirley, how's it going? Good to see you. Callsaw, what's up? Yeah, I hope you had a great weekend too. Jay, hello. Ike Lizardo, what's happening? Best kept secret. Gerald, what's going on? Yeah, let's take a look at Teva. Teva Pharmaceuticals. So a lot of pharma got hit right last week, right, because of administrative stuff. About trying to make the price of pharmaceuticals the cheapest in the world, right, and all that. Wow, this is really I haven't traded. I don't trade a lot of pharma. I traded this back when it was way up there. This is a tricky one to trade. It's starting to get it's basically a penny stock now. Being below $10, so a lot of institutions don't even play in here. Right? I mean, I know it gets like a ton of volume and all that stuff, but a lot of them won't own it for like their portfolios. But I'm sure there's a lot of traders in this. So yeah, so bearish engulfing day. Okay, so with that, if you kind of zoom into the candlestick here, right, you can see we were in an uptrend. We had a green bar, right? Then it was followed by a red bar, which here the real body fully engulfed the entire candle, right? So very, very possible it gets some some downside follow through. So just be careful with that. MRK, let me see how that's looking. Did that give a bearish engulfing day too? Not quite. PFE, not quite. But that Teva does look pretty weak. In fact, Gerald, I'm going to add that to the short radar for tomorrow. Again, it's tough to trade. But the options used to be great to trade on it. You just had to be very, very right with it. Let's just take a look and see. So we'll keep an eye on that on the short side. Teva, nice. Okay. And let's see. Nikolai, what's happening? Callsaw, whoa, lost you. Microsoft, Disney, Roku, Cat. So let's see. So one that's not on the Dow, right? So actually, it's so funny. Yeah, so Microsoft, doing its thing, right? I mean, it's if we go to let's go to the daily chart, daily bar chart here. Oh, it looks clear. Goodness gracious, that is you guys got that? I was kidding. All right, let's go back over here. Let's go to the daily. All right, here you can see the green channel. Okay, kind of going up. This has been really key. Undershot the channel here, tried to work its way up. All right, touch the bottom of the channel here. All right, now it's just kind of in this kind of trying to decide what it wants to do area. So it's really, really tricky here. I mean, sometimes you can catch it, on a breakout move, and then it just keeps going for a while. But here, just have to see a lot of compressed. Bollinger Band's starting to get real tight here. Starting to get really, really kind of compressed. Might test this kind of 134, 135 area and then try to start its way back up. Disney, I think, is a good thing to keep an eye on. And guys, sorry, I know I had some questions on Disney. I forgot this thing went ex-dividend on Friday, so what a great place to buy the dip. It went ex-dividend, which means it automatically basically goes down, and then and then it pushed its way back up, got back over the trend line, just closed right over the trend line. So again, this is bullish until proven otherwise. Roku has been just a monster. Beautiful. We caught this as a 15 orb trade the other day, and then in the morning, where I go live at the open, right? I talked about this doji sandwich happening, and subscribers caught this, for a nice move on Friday. So that was a doji sandwich. So if you guys remember that discussion on the doji sandwich, that was it right there. Perfect. Big green bar followed by a doji, and then the other piece of bread right there was this doji or this green bar right here. So huge move on Friday. It could still get follow through. It's starting to come into kind of like a kind of resistance areas. You can see this area here. You got the mid Bollinger Band, right? So I wouldn't expect too many more moves like that. I mean, it can move when it wants to, but I would probably imagine at this point maybe a little consolidation, maybe an inside day, maybe a little pullback, and then we'll look to try to grab like an entry there. But yeah, really, really nice follow through on that one. And then Cat's one that got away from me, back here. It's like I had the trend line. And then I don't know what happened. This is a perfect entry right here. Here's your minor pivot, right? You could have got in this day, and yeah, it would have chopped around for like a day or two. But look at this thing, one little pullback and then up. I mean, just incredible. And I know you caught a piece of this, so good job with that. Yeah, Jay. So we'll look. I mean, we'll look at AMD, for sure. We just have to evaluate the market. So I mean, here, let's just take a look at what AMD's chart looks like, right? So this was definitely on our radar last week. It was really, really tricky to trade. Okay, so this was where was it? Here Monday. Okay, so it gave this nice move, and then it pulled back here on Friday. So I wanted to get an entry in here, which was basically right at this minor pivot, right? So if it came back up over that, I wanted to go long. But the market doesn't often give you, perfect layup shots, right? And so it gapped up huge on Monday, right, after G20 and all the semis were up, right, and then it pulled back, right, so really, really nasty, right, and then it kind of came back and chopped a little bit, and then finally, like a lot of the stocks gave a big push on Friday. So now at this point, it's just like, do you go long here, where's it going, type thing. So AMD is really, really tricky, but for intraday trades, we'll look for some ideas, but I wouldn't just go like all in on calls or anything like that. So. Wendy, how's it going? Good morning. I hope everything is beautiful and wonderful in Singapore. QCOM. So QCOM is is a favorite right now because it had a nice 15 orb move, right? We profited from that in the private stream on Friday. So here you can actually see the 15 orb levels here. I don't have them labeled, but it was price level 1 and 2 was the high. So nice little breakout there for a nice move. And look what it did here. It started to break out of the cloud. So this just to me is a really, really beautiful setup. I love cloud breaks. It's staying over its 15 orb. So this looks like a really, really nice potential move on this. So definitely keeping an eye on QCOM. Tesla. Tesla has some potential, guys. It held its 50 moving average right here. Stayed above it. It actually gave a really, really great entry here. This one here, but it was tough to catch. And I'll tell you why, because it's on the weekly chart. Okay. See, price can be a little bit, a little bit tricky, right? When you look at your different time frames. If you look at this, it's like, okay, we have this nice doji inside week, and look at that, it just took it up 227 all the way up to 241. That was like a 14-point move. That's great. Well, it wasn't as easy, right? Because it gapped up, right? The inside week level was here, right? Gapped above it, pulled back, and if you held, your entry would have been here at this 227, right? But you would have had to swing it down like 3 points, and possibly if you're holding there, down 5 points. That's a lot on Tesla, right? So for hoping, right? So and I did have a nice volumetric support here, so that was possible. And then they had their investor day. Now we did a whole discussion on Tesla last week about holding a straddle through that if you knew they were going to release those numbers that day. So that was a really great trade right there for nice gains on that straddle. So discussion there. So anyway, so we have this. It's kind of holding. It's got a gap below. I mean, it's really, really tough to see what kind of price action is going. What I do like though is that it's getting close to the cloud top. It couldn't quite get over it on Thursday, but we'll see if it if it can hold these levels, then it could potentially break out. So I think it is one to keep an eye on. In fact, I'm going to put an alert here just so we can just kind of keep our eyes on it. Be right in there too. Look for cloud break. So up, right? So really, really excited about earnings season coming up in 1 week. So it's like a holiday. It's like I'm just so excited. It's giving you kind of like doji day, spinning top. So give a nice move, and then it kind of does this. So City is very, very difficult to trade. I don't recommend it. So, but it does look like they put in a high here. We looked at this the other day. Kind of gave this bump and run type style. But here's a new high, so you go to the previous pivot. So it's right here. So unless it breaks down below those levels, right, the 71, right, it's bullish until proven otherwise. So you got that. Jason Lute, let's take a look at CMG. Yeah, good old Zoom, huh? I love Zoom, because we use it in the when we go live at the open. It's just such good quality. And anyway, real nice day on Friday. Very constructive. In fact, I remember looking at this. Somebody had tweeted something out, and I was like, oh, how did I miss this? I guess it's 15 orb here. I think it had some news recently, but it gave us a 15 orb. Let's take a real quick look at that bar and see if I can remember what happened. I think they had a downgrade, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this is it. Something happened this day. It was like, it was on the 15 orb list on Monday. And so we looked at it. It tried to break down in the cloud. It was a quick breakdown, right? So you could scalp that short. Then it gave you this, kind of harami bar here. Then it worked its way out of the orb. Then it held it, right? Closed above it and it held it for like a day. And then it said, nope, I am breaking out, and it launched. And that was in the 3rd. That was that short day before the Independence Day holiday, and they gave another little test of this volumetric level here. You can see the volume bars here, and then it pushed. So Zoom is holding up pretty well. It seems to me that buying pullbacks is possible on it. So just kind of see how the price action is. But yeah, on the daily, it gave a really nice day on the day. CMG. Chipotle, strong. I mean, just look at that. So here's this. We've been talking about this. Here's this nice bull flag on Chipotle, right? We talked about here tagging this the fib fan. It really respects these fib fan lines. Okay, I know it's crazy, but here was a nice pennant here. We got that long, nice pennant here. Look how it respected that fib fan line all the way. Look at that. It went vertical. It just was nonstop for a while. Then it got in this choppy mess. Then it gave you this trend line break, and then it gave you this perfect bull flag right here. Tag that fib fan line again, and then nice bullish day, right? And then break out of the flag. So, I mean, that's as good as it gets right there, right? So now what it's going to do from here, I don't know, right? But if you catch that, you're holding a little bit, type of stuff. This, I mean, it could work, right? It could keep working, right? Maybe it wants to get to 800. I don't know, but we'll see. At this point, it's hard to buy it here. But another pullback back to the fib fan line could be interesting. So we'll keep an eye on that. And then Amrin was another one. It's tough, it's running. It's beautiful. Tough to chase up here, right? Remember, this is their acquisition news, right? So they gapped down a little bit on acquisition news. That's where we had AGN, so that was our play of the week a couple of weeks ago on AGN. So some of our subscribers had this long, into this announcement, not even know this announcement was happening, and woke up. That's a couple of $100 calls. Some of that woke up with $3,000 in their pocket. That one, it was great. But Ameren is the one who's buying them, which is crazy, right? They're $23 and buying $160-something company. But anyway, but they were really, really smart when they did this, right? So they said they put the announcement out. Normally, when you buy a company, it pushes your stock down because you're spending all that money, and so they put this announcement, and then the next day, like after that, to keep their stock up, they're like, oh yeah, we're releasing our earnings and they're better than they were. They give you improved guidance on their after the fact type thing. So really, really nice stuff, and that was kind of smart on their part because it kept it from doing a acquisition crash type stuff. So it's been really, really strong here. Just be careful. It's broken out of this zone. It's had a lot of resistance here. It's tried to break out, came back in. Okay, and then we're starting to get some overbought conditions on the RSI. So for me, it's hard to chase up here. I can't imagine it going, too much higher. But there was a lot of shorts on it and all that stuff. So I mean, it was a nice squeeze here. But keep an eye on it. It should maybe there'll be some new news on it coming out on Monday, like an upgrade or something like that. So, and then Facebook. On a quest for 200, right? So it's held its kind of breakaway gap here with its like Libra coin inside day. So we'll keep an eye on this, right? If it does an inside day up, right, we could get a nice move. It could get up to 200. So I'm going to put that on the radar too. So inside day up, we'll take a look at that. I mean, of course, inside day down, right? You got that too. So let's put that there. We'll keep an eye on it. Yeah, those inside days are key. So in fact, let me add that back to the radar. No, it's already on the list for tomorrow. Yeah, so I'm bullish on it. If it breaks inside day up, so we'll see. Hopefully, it'll give us like a nice setup, like an inside 60, like right there at that inside day level. No problem, Ephraim. My pleasure. Surely. Let's take a look. Let's pull up our daily charts. Okay, with our levels. iTube. YouTube. All right. So, is that it? Is that all I have? So this, right, we have the pitchfork on this. It's kind of working its way up. Bullish still proven otherwise. Liking it. NRE. Again, nice gap up on Friday. So see if it holds that. Also bullish until proven otherwise. BRZU. Also holding its pitchfork. This is your Brazilian stocks here and there. There's your trend line. So as long as it holds that, bullish until proven otherwise. What else? Oh, you gave me a lot, Shirley. I'm gonna have to skip a few. Let's jump down to VOD. Vodafone. Interesting. I remember Vodafone. See if we can hold it. I mean, it is kind of giving this kind of double bottom type look here. See, like, so it could be working itself up. Again, these ADRs, they can gap around a lot too, so just be careful with that. Gerald, what's going on? I was selling some calls again. Say, okay, yeah. Yeah, just be careful. It's just, so inexpensive. But yeah, that could work. USB. Here. Okay. Bullish still proven otherwise. So yeah, those financials are going to lead, the earnings season. So it will be very interesting to see how they report. ZS, this has been really popular, guys. Just because of this, the way it's moving. Okay. So again, here we looked at this. Remember this trend line. Here was your minor pivot. Couldn't break below it. Now it's working its way up. Then it put in a new high. Okay. So we have that. So that's bullish till proven otherwise. Let's put a channel on this too because it is looking very interesting. Looks like it's kind of respecting those levels. Yeah. So see if we can get up there, kind of like around that 90 area. And then Jay, what's going on? CBIO. Wow. Big volume here, guys, for this stock. Broke a million, 2 days, recently. So this looks like it's starting to get some interest. Okay, so just be careful. These things can swing though. Okay, just bar by bar on these ones because those biotechs can be pretty scary. Shirley Zine. Remember, this is our previous upward trend line. Okay, here's a minor pivot, so it broke below that, gave you a little bit of a dip, came back up, holding this volumetric level, and now bullish until proven otherwise. Gerald, MA is going ex-div. What are our thoughts on a quick short trade? Again, tough with that, right? So shorting ex-dividend is always tough. With any of these stocks that do that, so this is doing it on the 8th, doing it tomorrow. So these ones, if you're going to be in the live stream, definitely bring this to the attention. What you want to do with these ex-dividend ones, especially on these strong upward trending stocks, is to try to buy the dip. So you can see here that this is the now it is, you got your crossover here on the stochastic and all that stuff, but as long as it's following this upper trend line, right, it's bullish until proven otherwise. So we'll see where it gaps down. If it gaps down to like this 267 level, right, that might be a good place to try to scoop some up. These credit card stocks, Visa and MasterCard, have been so strong. So I'm just gonna put a note here, buy the dip if it gets there. Okay. Let's see if it gets below those lows. So yeah, handles these areas. That'd be cool. Kind of gap down to, and then give us a nice upward move. Take that out there. Okay. NetFry. Thought about Cat on Friday, but missed it. Nice move. I know. That trendline breakout was just like, duh. How did I miss that? Chad, what's going on? Zillow. It was the other one. Anyway, here's Zillow. It's not getting over this level here. Here's the prior trend line that we looked at. Let's see how that's kind of holding up. You can see it's kind of respecting that, right? So, didn't even quite put in highs here. So technically it kind of tried to break down to this trend line. It's still holding it. Okay, so it's getting to a pinch point right here. You can see it on the stochastic. We also see it at this volumetric level. It's got to get over, 48.50. What's the high here? 48.67. So really 49.50. If it can get above that, then it could start to, really work, right? Because then once it gets there, then you've got this nice gap you can start working on, then start kind of getting to those levels. It looks pretty tricky. Gerald, what do you think about the bull flag on C? I know, it's incredible. It's incredible. I mean, it's working, right? So CMG is really, really tough to trade, right? I mean, you got to catch it, right? I mean, because look, let me show you the intraday. It is just nasty, right? It can just chop around like crazy. It is, it swings and its spreads can be really, really tough. Right, so I mean, here's your bar right here, your 15-minute bar, breaks out to the upside, then holds, right, and then these spreads get really, really, really challenging, and then it pushes. So at this point, it's tough, but I would consider looking to, maybe a pullback if you can get one. It just depends how much, right? Does it come back to the bull flag and then go back again? I mean, this is obviously the key bar right here as it broke out of the bull flag. So we'll see. I mean, because it could come back down and test that fib fan line too. So it's hard to chase at this point, right? This was the place to do it. Was back here where it closed, right at the fib fan line, then kind of came up the next day. So Jason Abbey bought AGN. That's right. Amrin. Oh, sorry, man. My bad. Sorry, Jason. That's right. Abbey bought them, and Amrin up their sales. Dirt. That's right. You can tell I don't trade a lot of pharma. So yeah, Abbey is the one who bought that. Sorry, guys. Look at that. Not a fundamental guy. But it's I know, I just forgot. Yeah, this is the one that they went up too, and then I saw Amrin was listening to that. Yep. Abbey bought them. Sorry, guys. It's still cheaper than AGN. That's a good one. Thank you for reminding me of that. Jay, my man. Call Saul, my pleasure. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. I think it was a really, really good discussion. Lots of great chart requests. Hope you guys find that VWAP crossover tool helpful with the 3MA and the VWAP. I think it's something I'm going to add in the background, when I'm day trading, just kind of see kind of what's going on back there. Might help with some, you can add to some strategies, and then with the alligator on top of it too for when things are trending. Other than that, awesome chart request, guys. I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. Looking forward to an awesome trading week this week. There's a couple earnings coming out this week. We've got NetFries Pepsi is this week. We've got some other ones too, which should make the week really interesting. Then we're heading into earnings season too coming up, so it's gonna be great. So everybody have a great rest of your evening, and remember your risk first and stay safe so you can stay in the game. And I'll talk to you guys soon.